Hi there, guys. Phoenix Aurelius here. Thank you so much for joining me for this laboratory update for November 2022. As always, November was a huge month for us here. In fact, this video might be a little long because we did so much during the month of November. We started off like every November, I am busy all month long just doing the 2023 astronomological calendar, and this month was no exception. So that's what I've been doing. I've been really cranking hard, many hours a day working on that. At the time of making this video, I'm getting very close. We should be sending off to the printer this upcoming week, the week of the 5th. By the time you see this video, the calendars may not be for pre-sale anymore, but they still may be. So be sure to check the website. If you can order it pre-sale, that's going to be your very best bet because it's only 55 bucks. Once we send them off to the printer, we're only doing a limited run of 100, and we do them 100 at a time. The cost of printing has gone way up for the high quality printing style that we do. So we had to increase the cost this year. So if you don't get it pre-order, by the time it hits the website, it's going to be an SRP of $70. So if you can, be sure to check the website, get it now at 55. That's going to be your very best deal. That being said, I also started working on a lunisolar parapegma as well. And a parapegma is basically what the ancient world used to use. We know that the Coligny calendar of Gaul, we know that Stonehenge, we know Newgrange, we know lots and lots of other sites. All megalithic sites all across the world were in various ways calendars that were able to track the lunar solar rhythms and also served as sacred sites to be able to ground those rhythms into the earth and be able to connect people to the cosmos in a very tangible, ritualistic way. Well, building a megalith for everybody at their house in the modern age is not going to be possible, and even I doubt most cities throughout the United States are even interested in building one of these for their present age. And so what I've done is come up with a design where we'll be able to laser engrave a couple of boards that will have holes drilled in them for pegs, and you'll be able to move pegs. So you'll be able to track the days, you'll be able to track the lunar months, you'll be able to track the waxing and waning cycles of the moon. You'll be able to track the moon and its zodiac sign, the sun and its zodiac sign, the metonic cycles, the ascending and descending lunar cycles, all sorts of other things to the true sidereal zodiac. This will not be able to be released still for several months. I'm hoping to get it done by 2023, but there has been 3 or more years of me studying megalithic sites from all over the world, taking a look at their arrangements, taking a look at what they could be calculating, their astronomical alignments, spanning through Egypt, through Ireland, through all of Europe, through South America and more. So this is a really huge undertaking, and it's going to be an awesome tool for those who really want to calculate time, the way that the sun and the moon work, and to be able to connect themselves to those cycles. So I'm really excited about that. Like I said, this is the culmination of at least 3 years of research. I'm in the design process right now. Still don't have an estimated date for when that's going to release, like I said, but at some point in 2023. In the lab, we started off the month by finishing a 5-gallon batch of a freeze-dried spagyric tincture of cilantro for a client, and we also made a double batch of liposomal C for one of our clients. We also made spagyric tinctures of freeze-dried ghost pipe, which is Monotropa uniflora, and Dutchman's pipe, which is Monotropa hippopotese. And these two are really interesting and very rare medicines. In fact, I think there's only 7, possibly 11 states in the United States where it's even legal to harvest ghost pipe, and there are many states where you can't even find ghost pipe now. So that's a really awesome thing, and we get it shipped in freshly frozen. So they harvest it, they wild harvest it sustainably in Virginia. They flash freeze it, ship it to us on dry ice, and then we can either thaw it and tincture some of it fresh straight away, or we also have a pharmaceutical freeze dryer here, and so we've been freeze drying the flower, and we've been split testing the difference between fresh and freeze dried Monotropa species over here. And so far, our research indicates that the freeze-dried is a little bit more fast-acting and a little bit more potent, but we do carry both on the Phoenix Aurelius apothecary right now, because there are some people who would like the cooling effect of that fresh herb, which you don't get with the dried herb. So the freeze-dried herb in particular. Also of very important note, we added Polyrhacus ant to the Spagyric apothecary during the month of November. That is probably one of the most rare medicines that you will find. There are a lot of like dual extracts and powdered extracts and things like that of Polyrhacus ant, and because there are so many suppliers of those, it's really hard over the last couple of years to be able to find a good, reliable source of high quality Polyrhacus ant that doesn't have any additives, that is just completely pure. But we have found one, we've locked in a really good source for that, and now we have plenty of Polyrhacus ant spagyric tincture to offer to our entire clientele. So it's oftentimes said that ginseng is the king of herbs, but Polyrhacus is the herb of kings. It helps to build zing in a way that many other things don't. It contains ATP and zinc, especially in its rare form of zinc carnosine, which is bound to a carnosine amino acid. And that is absolutely necessary for good digestion, good stomach health. And many people don't have enough L-glutamine or zinc carnosine in order to maintain the stomach health for their gastric chief cells, gastric parietal cells, so on and so forth. This can lead to a huge variety, just an enormous plethora of health issues for many people, because most health issues that are at least ens naturale based start with stomach and with the digestive tract. And if stomach acid and intrinsic factor, pepsinogen, and other different gastric secretions aren't in place, it doesn't matter how good your microbiome is inside of your intestines or anything else, you're not going to be able to digest and assimilate many important minerals and nutrients, and therefore we become deficient in those things, and we're just simply not able to assimilate the foods that we're eating. So it's a popular myth that foods these days are just not as nutritious as foods in the past. And in certain cases, that's definitely true because of degraded soils and so on and so forth, but there are more regenerative farmers now than there have been in the last 200 or 300 years, actually. And so there is a ton of accessible food that is very nutrient rich, and people simply don't have the digestive systems and the microbiomes in place to be able to assimilate the nutrients that they're eating, and that is another issue. We can even call it a compound issue to the depleted nutrients that sometimes you find in modern day foods. So it's really important to be able to have these types of things. And again, ATP is what the mitochondria of the cells create as the source of cellular energy. And so if you don't have ATP, you're going to find yourself feeling really lethargic and not have enough cellular energy. This oftentimes can lead to cellular malfunction, which will ultimately lead to cancers and so on and so forth. So Polyrhacus ant is among the most important herbs that we have, and even though it's a really expensive herb for us to get our hands on, as is American ginseng and some of the rarer things like Cordyceps sinensis and things like this, because of the way that we have structured our apothecary, we're able to offer it for the very same price of $35 for a 5 mil and $95 for a 15 mil that we have for all of the rest of our items in the apothecary. So it's not any more expensive to you, the end user. So I strongly suggest picking some up if you haven't already. We have a very good supply of this. We can tincture just with what I have on hand. We can tincture probably 15 to 20 gallons of this at the present moment. We're currently making it in 900 mil batches instead of 450 mil batches because we know it's going to be very popular, especially after most of you who see this video hear what I just said. I anticipate that a good number of orders are going to roll in as a result of that, and for good reason too. So along with those spagyric tinctures that I just mentioned, we also finished spagyric tinctures of, and this is a relatively long list, red sage root, prepared Rehmannia root, nettle root, false unicorn rhizome, which is wild harvested from Appalachia from a sustainable harvest. It's not very easy to get false unicorn root these days in any sort of sustainable way, especially from the wild. And part of that is that we had 60 to 70-year-old rhizomes, and they're not even as big as the very tip of my pinky finger there. That's how long it takes for these things to grow. we have very, very awesome, very old roots available because there was an entire demolition that's going to be happening through a very beautiful area of Virginia, an entire hauler that is going to be turned into a 4 or 5 lane highway. And so Laura Quessenberry, one of our very good friends that we met at the Good Medicine Conference, has gone out and painstakingly wild harvested each one of these by hand, shipped them to us fresh in soil, and we process them. Some of you have been following our socials over the last couple of months may have seen some pictures of what the fresh roots look like as we were preparing them and drying them and getting them ready. It's now extracted and finished and will be added to the Spagyric Apothecary as part of, we won't be releasing that one because it's so rare as part of Spagyrics of the Month. We only have enough to make it in 450 ml batches and so on and so forth, but it will be on the apothecary soon. It's a very, very important female health herb, especially for sexual female health and for hormones and stuff like that. We also have Tonka Ali, which is very good for male health. We have Coleus Swarovski, which is an herb that is used for heart health. Specifically in Ayurveda. We have American ginseng root. This is probably 12-year-old roots. It didn't come with a specific year of how old it was when I got it, but they look, based on their size, probably 10 to 14-year-old roots. So I'm just splitting the difference and calling that a 12-year-old root. We have valerian root, which we didn't wild harvest. We grew it here on site at the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy Research Gardens. We have Chinese wild yam, which is Dioscorea opposita. That's really, really popular in Chinese medicine. It's also consumed as a food. We also have fresh Appalachian wild yam. Appalachian wild yam is going to be called Dioscorea villosa. It looks, tastes, smells, everything totally different than Dioscorea opposita. So the difference between the Chinese wild yam and the Appalachian wild yam are crazy, but they still belong to the Dioscorea species, and so they are really, really amazing. The Appalachian wild yam is also a very important female herb, and it's really good for balancing hormones, especially good for women who are going through menopause or are slightly premenopausal or even postmenopausal. It can help to rearrange the entire hormonal system of progesterone and estrogen and bring a solid homeostatic balance. So we have the Appalachian wild yam in both fresh and dried. We have fresh and dried giant Solomon seal root that we finished. And we thought that the Solomon seal would probably not do as well fresh because there's a ton of liquid to it. By the way, it kind of smells and tastes like vanilla cake. It's very similar to lily bulb, fresh lily bulb when we do that one. And so it's a really tasty one, but it has tons of medicinal merits. We've also done a freeze-dried turmeric, which is amazing. Bought fresh turmeric, peeled it, freeze-dried it, extracted it, and it is the best and coolest turmeric. In fact, it was the coolest orange, like neon orange color when we first tinctured it. After we added the salts, the iatrochemical reaction turned it blood red. We have a couple of videos of that. I'm not sure if Christian or Nori have released those on our socials yet, but they probably will, so keep an eye out for that because that was really fun. Also elecampane root that we grew here at the Research Academy. We have Trillium rhizome, again a wild harvested Appalachian herb, again a very good one for female health. Blue cohosh and black cohosh, those were also wild harvested from that same area in Virginia by Laura Quessenberry for us. Both of those are important female wellness herbs. We have ashwagandha root, root of light, tomato root, tree peony bark, root bark, Turkish rhubarb, noto ginseng root, costus root, and 2 different preparations of motherwort, American motherwort, or I should just say that they are European motherwort, not Chinese motherwort. And we grew those here also at the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy. During the latter half of the month, we started 53 new tinctures. And in fact, the last week of November, the week technically ended with the first few days in December. And so within a week's time, we actually did closer to 70 tinctures. But throughout November, only 53 of them. By the end of November 30th, only 53 were made. But we have, we started baobab fruit, grapefruit peel, freeze-dried lemon peel, especially because we want to split test the difference between traditionally dried lemon peel and freeze-dried lemon peel based so far on the scent, the flavor, the color profiles, the UV index, and so on and so forth. This freeze-dried one looks like it stands head and shoulders above the dried material, and there are a lot greater concentration of terpenes from the, which we could call essential oils, from the freeze-dried stuff that you don't get with the dried stuff. They tend to evaporate out pretty heavily in the dried stuff. So that's really cool because now you have all of the terpene profiles along with all of the bioflavonoids and other things that we've come to expect from the lemon peel itself. We also have guarana seed, harad seed pod, tonka bean, which is really rare, hawthorn berries, Indian long pepper, tricolor peppercorn, milky oats, Katsumadai galangal seed, which is a really cool one. It looks like these weird little brain pods. Kola nut, Madagascar vanilla bean, Tahitian vanilla bean, trifala, which is an important Ayurvedic herb. It's actually 3 herbs, in fact. Saw palmetto berry, defatted cacao, Job's tears, and bahita. And we have been working on the spiciest chilies in the world, including ghost chili, cayenne chili, red tail scorpion chili, dragon's breath chili, bird's eye chili, 7-pot brain strain chili. Some of these have over 2 million Scoville units. Chinese red lantern chili, habanero chili, Carolina Reaper chili, and Thai chili. For those of you who aren't privy to it, for years, since about 2015, I will take the spiciest chilies that are known at that time, gather them all together, and put them together in a blend that we have called The Fire. Well, the difference in Scoville units between that first batch that I made in 2014 or 2015 called The Fire, which should still be in our Spagyric Apothecary right now, and the new chilies that are existing now through selective breeding and hybriding, or hybridizing, I guess is the proper term, is vast. And so this new one is going to be called the Fire 2.0. We're not sure exactly when it's going to be out. These need to finish tincturing. I need to be able to blend them. And I think we're even going to send a sample of these off to just see what the actual overall Scoville units are. Why would we make something so spicy? Well, first, it's really good if you have heart attack, stroke symptoms, abdominal aortic aneurysms, and different types of things like this, because they are vasodilators. So as you take a spicy food, the veins and the arteries begin to open the entire vascular system, which helps blood flow a whole lot better. So it can help with circulation, but it can also help for those that are at a greater risk for heart attack and stroke. And like Dr. Christopher showed, cayenne, just taking cayenne pepper as a powder or as a tincture during a heart attack can actually save your life and prolong your life for 2 or more hours. If you are in process of having a heart attack, it will allow you to get to where you need to go, even if you're a relatively far way away from a hospital. And it's not a foolproof thing. Like, people still may get hurt or end up dying if they have cayenne and are dealing with a myocardial infarction, but it gives you a much greater chance of success. And so that's part of it. And the other thing is, there are some people who have very, very cold constitutions, and there are things, especially in heart meridian, lung meridian, where we don't necessarily want to use something like aconite, which needs to be used extremely carefully. And so using something like this, it will make you sweat, and it'll make you burn, and you'll be breathing through your mouth, and hopefully, not guzzling milk, because that will add to the dampness, but maybe rinsing your mouth out with milk or cream, but it's going to definitely warm you up and get rid of that coldness. We also have tinctured several polypores and medicinal mushrooms, including black reishi, hemlock reishi that comes from Appalachia hemlock trees, turkey tail, as well as whole parasitized Cordyceps sinensis. And yes, these are actual real cordyceps. They're not the ones that are just grown on like a brown rice agar or other things. These are whole parasitized caterpillars. And so we've got those. Same thing with whole parasitized Cordyceps militaris that comes from Peru. And we also have whole parasitized Cordyceps subbolifera, which are cicada larvae cordyceps. It's a very, very interesting species. They look really cool. I've got some photos of those. I don't think that those have been shared on the socials yet, but over time they probably will be We'll be chatting with Christian about that this following Monday. And then also Appalachian chaga. So those are some of the mushrooms. We've also done Kashmiri saffron, toothache cress, which is known as spilanthes, really important herb if you have toothaches and things like that, can't get into a dentist appointment, or things maybe where like a composite filling or another filling has opened up and it's made your tooth sensitive, and until you get it filled, there's some pain, some sensitivity. Toothache cress is an awesome go-to herb. It's usually used as a mouthwash. We're currently testing out its capacity as a spagyric tincture to see if we can enhance any of those medicinal properties and that analgesic property to the oral surfaces. We also have done pine pollen, very, very important for male health. Blue lotus flowers, annual honesty flowers, arnica flowers, feverfew flowers, calendula flowers, evening primrose flowers, dandelion flowers, elecampane flowers, grapefruit mint flowers that we grew here at the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy, purple dead nettle flowers, which were wild harvested from Virginia, snow lotus, which comes from Tibet. Very rare to see whole snow lotus. I also took really good pictures of those before we tinctured them, because they are in absolutely pristine condition, entire snow lotus plant. Very, very awesome, super cool that we're able to have that. Again, that's one of those rare things that you get at the same price as all of the rest of our products as a result of our painstaking way that we've had to price everything and average everything out. Also helichrysum flowers and elder flowers. And we have a bunch of other leaf stuff that we tinctured here during the beginning of December, but that will go on the December laboratory update. So we've been really busy. Like I said, most of my time was personally consumed, not only doing these tinctures, but also working with the astronomological calendar, and most of my free time has been going towards the Parapegma and that design. So a lot done during the month of November. There's going to be tons and tons of fun releases for Spagyrics of the Month coming up here soon. If you're not already, consider becoming a member of that, because for only $75 a month, you get access to all 5 of the Spagyric releases in a 5 ml size. And I think you save something like 38% or something over even the discounted rate for new releases of that month. So if you're not already, I strongly suggest signing up for that. You'll save a grundle, you'll be able to build up an awesome home apothecary, and we have some really, really fun and really rare medicines that are coming up in the pipeline here very soon. So yeah, as always, I'm pretty sure that there are a few more things that happened during the month of November, but those were definitely the main highlights. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at support@phoenixaurelius.org. And in the meantime, I'd just like to thank you for all of your support and all of your patronage. We really appreciate you. We hope that you have a very happy and safe holiday season. And again, if there's anything we can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at support@phoenixaurelius.org. Thanks so much.